Hey YouTube, and welcome to this special episode of Gameside Chats. I wanted to make this episode today after watching some, very special, at least in my opinion, special gameplay footage, specifically of the Dying Light 2 gameplay reveal. I've watched it a couple times now, and I gotta say I'm really excited about that game to come out. Dying Light, the first Dying Light, the one that I am currently playing, is one of my favorite games that have come out in the last 10 years. I mean that pretty genuinely. On my Steam library, it's the single player game, or I guess game that has a large single player element to it, with the most playtime. I have 260 hours into it, or something like that. I think this game has a lot of positive elements. I think it was done incredibly well. Even some parts of it that were, not necessarily new, but only certain other games had tackled them well. The parkour, for example. Assassin's Creed is a game that comes to mind when people think of parkour. Mirror's Edge, that game I think still gets some of the most praise when it comes to parkour elements in a game. But I think the smoothness, the way that you can get around the city in Dying Light is, it's great. I mean, it's really well done. And I mean, that's just one part of the gameplay that's, really enjoyable. I think the combat melee system, the fact that it pretty much all does revolve around melee, is really cool. Zombie games usually take one of two paths when it comes to combat. Either, guns and explosives are the most important thing, or in this type of game, they can be a real danger because of the noise and the way it attracts attention. So you have to be somewhat stealthy to a certain extent using melee. So there's a lot of elements in Dying Light that I really enjoy. Dying Light 2 trailer, though, that had some things that I do want to talk about. First off, I want to say I'm incredibly excited about that game. I can't wait for it to be released. When it comes out, I will definitely be buying it and playing it. So springtime, anybody that's here on the channel, anybody that's watching, anybody that's subscribed, feel free to hang out with me. We'll definitely be playing it when it comes out. I want to talk today about some of the things that we saw in the trailer, the gameplay reveal, the 26 minutes, something like that, of gameplay, and that's early gameplay too, right? I mean, at this point in time, the game should be getting fairly close to being done and playable overall, but there will be changes that are made between now and the spring when it's released. But some things that I want to talk about now are some similarities, some differences, some additions to the game as compared to the first Dying Light. So the first thing I guess that I'll kind of bring up and talk about is one thing that I'm actually worried about. I want to talk about that first, then we can talk about some of the positives. And that is this concept of an open world, open narrative game. Dying Light 1, as I'm playing right now, it's an open world. You can pretty much go wherever you want. There's certain boundaries. There's at times areas that you can't get to until they're unlocked. But it is an open world game. If I want to climb to the top of a building, I can climb to the top of a building. I can look out this window right here. If I want to go, way down this street, take a right and go, somewhere, anywhere that I see, I can go there. And so that's, at the very basic level, that's like an open world game. But one thing that they seem to have tried to make into a really big deal in the Dying Light 2 reveal gameplay is that supposedly it's going to be a more of an open narrative as well, wherein choices that you make affect the outcome not only of the game, but of the world within the game. So, you make a choice and it affects everything from the story to the environment to, the, I would guess, interactions that you can have with people and elements within the world. I'm a little bit worried though that they're making this into such a big deal and seemingly prioritizing it so high in terms of what they think is important. A reason for that is that it can be, at least I've found, very, very difficult for game developers to make open narratives that, truly hide the linearity of the choices you're making. Um, Open narrative gameplay is much more difficult than just open world gameplay. A reason for that is with an open narrative, you need to hide the fact that there actually is a limited number of choices that have large outcomes, make large differences in the world. Um, if a choice is made in an open narrative game, you could go back through, replay the game, and potentially make the opposite choice. So, let's say you play mission, there's two choices. Like in the reveal gameplay, had you stayed with Frank, something would have happened differently, right? But making these things not seem like obvious, like, okay, I know that if I make choices 1, 2, and 3, the outcome is A. If I make choices 4, 5, and 6, outcome is B. Kind of hiding that, making that less noticeable is difficult to do. Maybe the first time someone plays through a game, not quite so difficult, given that everything is new, and so everything is a surprise to you. But it really does kind of come down to whether or not the developers can make it seem less like a linear story and more like that open narrative concept. And even if it's a little bit harder for them to do that than they are, trying to let on in that reveal. I still think the game's going to be awesome. There's going to be so many good elements to it. I just really don't want them to make all this into a big deal. Like, oh, every single choice you make is going to have huge consequences, and that honestly just might not be as true as they're suggesting. Just something to keep in mind, something that I'll definitely watch for when I go play the game in the spring. The open world nature of it, though, that's unchanged, it seems, overall from the current game, Dying Light 1. It's really is just going to come down to, is it truly different choices have different consequences, lead to different outcomes, or is it going to just be 10? I'll just make up numbers here. There's 10 missions, each one has 2 choices, and some of those choices are just different ways of doing the same thing, ultimately leading to 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever number it may be, outcomes at the end of the game. Or is it relatively boundless? Is it really you can do A and the consequence 16 missions later is finally noticed? Or is it going to be you do A or you do B3 4 missions later, and either way you get the same thing at the end of the game? That kind of remains to be seen. But honestly, that's my main worry, and it's not even so much a worry, because like I said, I think the game's still going to be amazing when it does release. I just wanted to bring that up first, since it was the one thing I was kind of about when I saw the reveal, and listened to the the narrator, whomever it was, developer that was kind of speaking over top. So, another thing that I do kind of want to talk about is the combat system and the little bit of combat that we saw in the gameplay reveal. I think overall the combat looks similar to Dying Light 1, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And the combat in Dying Light 1 is entertaining, to say the least. You know, it really does have elements of, you know, oh my gosh, I have to be fast, combined with, you know, cool finishing moves that you can unlock as time goes on. You know, the combat in Dying Light is, you know, kind of unique, and it makes it a lot of fun. Can't tell you how many times I or me and some friends have just, you know, gone zombie hunting. Literally, that's all you do is just come into the game and you go take out 100, 200, 300 zombies for an hour or two. The staying power, the lasting potential for the combat in this game will definitely added to those 260 hours that I've accrued playing this game. So it's a good thing that it's going to be similar. There's a few things that I would like to see, and in the reveal it showed a tiny bit of it. One of which would be additional integration of parkour into the fighting. You know, combining moves, combining the different, you know, I'm jumping around and I'm doing a kick, I'm jumping around and I do something with my melee weapon. I think we did see a tiny bit of additional integration in the reveal, but I really do hope there's a little bit more. You know, the parkour is such a large element to the gameplay, and in Dying Light 1 it kind of falls away ever so slightly once you get into a combat situation, which is, you know, kind of unfortunate because it is a big part of the overall gameplay, and then you end up leaving it out during combat. So if they can manage to integrate it a little bit more, that will be, you know, super cool thing, in my opinion. Man, I cannot get this lock for some reason. Normally I don't have this much trouble with locks. We'll keep trying though. I would say that it looked, at least in... Oh, wait, is it just like all the way over here? I would say that in the reveal, the gameplay reveal, it looked like there was a little bit more gore, a little bit more graphic, you know, additional... Okay. More limbs flying off, more heads getting cut off. Man, that lock took forever. Come at me, bro. Bruh. You gonna hit me with that hammer? Huh? You gonna hit me with that hammer? Let me smack you with a bat. A baseball bat. The quintessential zombie-killing weapon. Baseball bat. Yeah, you want some of this? Here. See what I did to your friend there? Oh, snap, I did to you too. What? Oh, God! There's a zombie hit me! Finish her. Finish her. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you know, I say it looks like there's more, and then immediately I smash this woman zombie's head, and blood goes flying everywhere. It does look like there's going to be a little bit more graphic nature to the game, which I also don't even think is a bad thing. I think zombies, that's kind of one thing that you have to have. You know, think of movies, think of TV shows. You know, you gotta take out the head, you gotta cut off the head. You know, these gross humanoids, you know, undead. There's always like body parts, blood, all that stuff. So I don't even think it's a bad thing. If they upped the graphic nature ever so slightly. I'm not sure if that'll affect, you know, ratings and how they sell the game and all that stuff at all. But yeah, don't really think it's such a bad thing. You know, they, at least during the mission that was shown, there seems to be a larger focus on combat between the protagonist and humans. So I have mixed feelings about that. The combat with humans in Dying Light 1 was never really my favorite. You know, the humans, Rise's men, they always seem to be really overpowered. Like, you know, like they're ultra well trained assassins, basically. Slightly unrealistic. Not saying that what we're doing in this game is in any way realistic, but I would much rather fight off 20 zombies than 3 of Rice's men in Dying Light 1. And I don't think it should be quite that extreme. So if in Dying Light 2 the humans are, the humans that you're fighting are a little bit less powerful, a little bit less, trained to kill, so to speak, I'd be happy to see that. Let's see. Let's switch up some stuff here. There we go. Police baton. Gonna come at you, bro. I'm gonna come at you, bro. I'm gonna let them kind of burn to death a little bit first. Gotta love those Molotov cocktails, right? Yes, so especially if they're going to include more fighting with human adversaries in Dying Light 2, they really have to, unfortunately dumb down the combat abilities of the humans a little tiny bit. Y'all may disagree with that. Y'all may think, well, no, they're humans. You're not fighting dumb zombies. You're fighting smart, capable humans. So, of course, they're going to be harder to fight. But, in my opinion, and I think maybe if anybody who's played this game thinks back, your opinion may match. Anytime a fight with humans came along, it just kind of like paused everything. Nothing was smooth at that point. It was just, okay, well, I was running and, running and swinging, and now I'm suddenly just kind of stuck here, and regardless of what's happening around me, if I have somewhere to be, if I have something to do, if I have something I want to do, it doesn't matter, because humans are too good to just kind of like, oh, okay, finish them and go. So yeah, y'all let me know what you think about that. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, your opinions on the combat system, both in Dying Light 1 in terms of fighting humans and what it looks to be like in Dying Light 2. Let's see. Go down there into the tunnel, or do we go back that way? Honestly, we can do either one. There's going to be zombies everywhere, considering it is a zombie game. I'll go back towards the light. It's going to be dark soon anyway. So, yeah, I guess another thing that I want to talk about is the zombies. The gameplay reveal pretty much showed zombies of a similar nature to what we have here. You've got your standard Horde E zombies. There's, the runners, and then there were the ones shown in the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone, gonna be Dark Zone. The Dark Zone zombies were kind of cool to see, for a specific reason. I did like. Let's see. Let's go back to the main tower. That's over here. Let's see. There we are. So, in Dying Light, this game, the first game, the Dark Zone, or Dark Zones, were kind of few and far between. They were not, and they weren't constant either. Like that tunnel I almost went into. It's dark in there, but I don't think it's considered, or at least some of the tunnels. There's a few in this game. They're not always considered constantly to be a quote-unquote dark zone. You may come across spots that are technically dark, like it's constantly shadowed in there, but you won't find zombies huddling around getting ready to run at you. That's not what happens. A dark zone is dark, quote unquote, a lot of the time just at night. If in Dying Light 2, as it comes out, they include more dark zones. Maybe we'll be here after all. Oh, that was blocked. I don't remember how to get back. Might have to just go to a standard safe house for the night. If it's more fluid going from outside, light, daytime, to dark zones, I think that'd be really interesting. By he I mean the protagonist, the person playing the protagonist, fell through that wooden floor during the gameplay reveal, and what was that? And found himself in a dark zone, even though it was daytime. If you can find buildings, if you can find tunnels, if you can find subways, caves, all those sorts of things where genuinely the scarier zombies are hiding. Sometimes you may happen into them. Sometimes you may have to go there on purpose. But have it happen more than just at night. I think that would be really, really cool. It would add a new element of danger to literally just running around through the world. I think that'd be something really, really cool to see as compared to this game, the first game. The zombies that we saw did make me wonder, what are they going to do in terms of added zombies, new types of zombies. I think the variety factor is important, but maybe not quite as important to some other people. Zombie types need to make sense. You can't just be like, oh, well, the first Dying Light had 8 types of zombies. We want to have 12 in the new one, so one of the next 4 is going to be, zombie type water. And, they hang out in puddles and they go blub blub like fish. And then there's going to be zombie type, half machine. And those are going to be in there because somehow the infection makes them take robot parts into them. No. Like, these things don't make sense. Adding zombie types just to add to the numbers is silly. There's no reason really to do that if the quality is not there. I think if they're going to add zombies, they're going to have to add to the gameplay rather than just add to the number of zombies. So I'll be curious. They've had a lot of time to develop and a lot of time to think about these sorts of things since the first game came out. So hopefully anything that they've added in will be a quality addition rather than just a quantity addition. How do you do your flashlight? Can't remember flashlight. Not this one. I'm pressing all my buttons. There we go. I was pressing all my buttons. Yes. And so another thing that I'd be curious to see is if they're going to try to add in, the genuine zombie horde. The kind of stereotypical, not this. Like this, we're in a city, there's going to be groups of people, groups of zombies, pretty much anywhere you go. This isn't like what I consider to be a horde. I'm talking, waves of zombies, the traveling packs, when you think of a horde of zombies, that comes to mind, it's not just like random ambling like this. It's like genuine, like, oh, this street is full, and they are coming down, and they're headed somewhere, whether on purpose or whether it's just the horde mentality. I think that's an element that they could add, and it could be pretty interesting to have to deal with that sort of thing, where maybe it's not so much a fight or even flight, but literally just move out of the way. I'll be curious to see what they do about that. And it is just about to officially become nighttime. There we go. Now we're gonna start having some big baddies, some big meanies coming out at us. Maybe we'll fight some. Maybe we'll run away and hide from them. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Those are kind of some of the main elements that are important in the upcoming game. Some of my thoughts on, at least from the 26 minutes that I saw, my thoughts on that video and the release. The one last thing that I wanted to bring up, and I kind of for just think it's funny and kind of because I'm actually really curious. Did any of you guys notice that the protagonist's voice, this Aiden person, they sound exactly like Kyle Crane? the protagonist sounds exactly like the first game's protagonist, the guy I'm playing as right now. I'm not sure if that was on purpose. I'm not sure if it was a design choice, or if they kind of forgot what their previous character sounded like, or if maybe there's something more to it. Maybe they are somehow related. Yeah, I hear you. Maybe they're somehow related. Maybe they're the same person. Maybe there's some kind of. You can't get me. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. You're gonna burn. Oh, you're gonna really bad sunburn. Such a bad sunburn. Run away. Run away. Run. Get out of here. Wow. You really don't want to run away? You really don't like me, do you? Hi. Hi, ha. Hi. Yeah, or maybe there's always the potential that they're going to do some kind of story looping, storytelling magic, and Aiden is Kyle Crane. That'd be kind of interesting. Kind of fun for them to pull that out. Really really surprise us as the players and those who loved this game, the first Dying Light. What's up, bro? What's up, bro? You can come at me? You gonna come at me, bro? Come at me, bro. Can't catch me. Go now. Go now. Ah! Gonna hit you with my light. Gonna hit you with my light. Run away. Run away. I know. Yeah. I'm curious to find out what that's all about, or if it literally is just an accident and they did not mean to make Aiden sound exactly like Kyle Crane. And I know I'm not the only one that's noticed this either. You guys, anybody that gets to this point in the video, comment down below. You definitely see what I mean, right? Aiden, Kyle Crane, they're the same voice. I mean, it's uncanny how similar. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to post up this quick video, get your guys' thoughts on the gameplay reveal for Dying Light 2, and find out if you guys are as excited about it as I am, because I actually am. I haven't purchased a big name game in a little while, and it's looking like that's shaping up to be the next one that I do purchase. Unfortunately, got to wait until this spring, but that time will go by quickly, hopefully. Yeah, go ahead and comment down below your thoughts. Let me know what you think, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.